they just did, they're going to be totally gassed and really having a hard time finding the energy in their legs to actually make it. The peloton, if you were in the back, you were almost coasting for a lot of that descent. These guys pedaled every single inch of it. They were absolutely hammering, trying to stay away. So these guys are going to be really fighting a losing battle against a peloton of hungry, fresh riders.
Look at the different position of these two riders. I mean, so far forward on top of the pedals, and the saddle jammed forward for Matteo Descend in the orange jersey right now, trying to just keep the pedals going over. These guys have been away for over 90 kilometers right now, trying to make it to the finish. It's 2 kilometers to go, but that's when on the last lap when they come through. They're getting ready to come through, and they're going to have 2 laps to go in a little bit. So right now, these guys trying to hold off a charging peloton. 50 seconds, we're going to have about, if it was 12 for 3, so 4 and 4, it's going to be 8 kilometers to go. You know, this is definitely doable to be able to bring it back, especially when you have strong World Tour teams trying to bring it back. And a little bit later on, if they start to falter, there's a lot of domestic teams that will come to the front and try to finish this off to give their sprinters a good chance of winning.
Well, especially if you're looking at the finish of the circuit being 2 90-degree left-hand corners at the top of this long stretch. This has been uphill this whole time. These guys are doing the entire length of this course all slightly uphill, so you can just see the effort that they've got. I'm sure back in the peloton, you've got full speed happening back there, all hands on deck, all these teams trying to figure out if their sprinters got any legs and whether or not they can be able to show it. But right now, getting a really good shot of Peyo, who's been nothing but aggressive, nothing but one of the strongest riders in the break, but also putting as much heart as anyone else in this thing, trying to stay up in the front.
Peyo's been the under-23 national champion for Switzerland, and right now trying to take a stage win. #1 of the Larry H. Miller Tour of Utah, now swinging to the left side of the road, trying to get ready for that turn with Descend getting onto the back of him. These two riders trying to get in time trial mode to stay away, but the chase is on right now as we go back to our main group. 50 seconds is reported, and that's a decent-sized gap.
Those two riders going into the 1K to go sign for this circuit. So, yeah, they do have a sizable gap. Looks like it might be a Trek rider on the front still with BMC right behind. Do see a little bit more of the blue from United Healthcare just behind them. So now that they've caught Jaramillo, they are all hands on deck also trying to get the stage win. So looks like we see some rally cycling riders in orange back there. Looks like they might be trying to gather up together, giving their rider Eric Young a shot, but got some real action there as they go through the 1K to go mark as well. Front two riders coming into this finish line. Looks like they will see this 2 lap to go mark right now.
2 laps to go for the riders coming through right now, fixing his earpiece. Peyo on the front right now, trying to figure out what the time gap, how much of a lead do they have. You talked about the orange jerseys of Rally. Haloeska Citadel, you talked about Travis McCabe. I believe that was your pick for today. Kiel Reinen is my pick for today with United Healthcare. We could see these teams coming to the front a little bit later on, but it is going to be a very, very fast sprint right now as they're coming through. Time gap going down, or excuse me, Kiel Reinen with stage 1. So right now we're going to see the lead out starting to form. We're going to see the same colored jerseys coming to the front, and that's going to be a big battle for position. You can see it's already starting to form.
You know, I'm really interested to see exactly how long that last stretch is. 700 meters, even though it is downhill, it takes a long time from that final corner. So a team that gets to that corner and really kind of throws too much energy into it, they might be really not rewarded with anything. They might have just gone far too early. A team that waits a little longer, waits until they get through that corner, waits until they see, you know, the 300 or 400 meter to go sign, they might be the ones that time that finish correctly and get that stage win. But any rider who's too nervous in the start or feels like they need to get going, they might end up biting themselves in the foot and not having a great finish. But these two riders still struggling to hold on to whatever gap they have and last as long as they can. If they make it one more lap here, they've got a good shot at trying to hold on, but I think this falls flat on the backside, frankly, is going to be really tough.
Well, with 20 seconds right now, very tough for these two riders to be able to stay away. But you talk about waiting till the last moment. 2 years ago, when Eric Young won, that's exactly what Optum did, is they let all these riders do all this stuff, and then like really with 1K to go, they came across the top on the left-hand side of the road with 3 riders, set him up perfectly for the sprint. If Young is in this, if they can organize themselves, I'll agree. It's better to wait a little bit longer and be able to take advantage of kind of that momentum on the backstretch to be able to give your sprinter a good chance. But as the speed keeps increasing, it's going to become more and more difficult to move up into the front and to be able to get into that position, and that's what these guys have to think about. It was 2 laps ago, so when they come around right now, these 2 riders are trying to get to that bell lap, trying to get to 1 lap to go, which would be about 4 kilometers to the finish. Rider from Switzerland and the rider from Canada right now. They've been away for 90 kilometers trying to win stage 1. Presented by the Workers' Compensation Fund right now, as these 2 guys are on the front right now. The Canadian rider and the Swiss rider. Matteo Dassin, he's had success. Won the Grand Prix de Saguenay in Canada last year, and the under 23 2 years ago. Switzerland road champion Simon Pillon right now is on the front. BMC, they have Rick Zabel in there. There's a whole host of sprinters in that group right now, and I'm not going to be able to say who is going to be the sprinter that's going to come out on front right now. It says 20 seconds, but it's looking, Tim, a little bit less than that.
Yeah, it's closing down very, very quickly. Just 1 BMC rider left on the front there. United Healthcare just behind, ready to take over. Trek Segafredo, like you mentioned, Kiel Reinen, your pick for today. Very, very good option, and it looks like he is set up well for it. I'm a little bit worried about the size of that peloton. I feel like we might be missing a few more riders that weren't able to make it over the top of the KOM and into the descent together with the field. And, you know, that might include some of the riders that have a little bit more speed in their legs. So Kiel Reinen, great combination of the ability of climbing and sprinting, someone who's won a stage here at the Tour of Utah as well as USA Pro Challenge. You know, he's a rider that when he gets into a race like the national championships, he's a #1 favorite for coming away with the win today. Just another shot to bring home a victory. His interview that he talked about yesterday was, I'm here to win stages. Here's his first chance.
And I'll agree with you, a bigger group means a little bit more speed in there. And you know what, in my experience, the Italians have always been fast. Italians definitely have sprinters that could be able to do something at the end, and so different riders are going to start coming up to the front. 2 riders reabsorbed right now. That is the end with a fantastic ride by Simon Pillon and Matteo Dassin as they are wrapped up with Team Lupus now on the front right now. They're going to come around pretty soon with the left-hand corner heading into the finish, getting towards the downhill section. This is the part we've talked about. Many riders have talked about the sprinters of putting a 55-tooth chain ring on their bike to be ready for that downhill sprint.
Just yesterday, riding with some of the guys from Cannondale Drapac, their featured sprinter here is Alberto Bettiol. In motor pacing yesterday, he hit more than 60 miles an hour behind the car, so 100K an hour motor pacing just to get ready for this downhill sprint. Might have been a little bit much, but the idea is the same. He wants to be ready to go fast. This is that left-hand corner coming down into the finish line. They're going to see 1 lap to go, but you can just see how the speed is picking up as soon as they make their way down this straightaway.
It was 8 a.m. this morning where they started in Zion National Park, and right now they're coming into Cedar City. The majestic views of earlier today now to the downtown city atmosphere of Cedar City right now as they get ready to come across that finish line. BMC on the front with 1 lap to go. This is going to be bell lap, 4 kilometers to the finish. The sprinters all. The French team on the right side organizing. Sebastian Hayedo, I saw from James, kind of free-floating and doing himself up there.
TJ Eisenhart on the front for BMC, looking like he's trying to set up his teammate. I mean, this is a great way to be a local rider on the front, going through that start-finish line, giving up the front for the Lupus riders. You got number 136 right there, Mathieu Janice. And if you got 133, you got Chad Beyer. Chad has got a bit of a sprint on him. It's going to be a little bit too fast, I think, for him, generally, considering that he can climb. He can get over these bigger climbs throughout the week. But he also has a rider like Kiel Reinen, just 2 riders behind him to watch out for. I do see Rally Cycling there as well in the orange. Looks like they are shepherding their sprinter, Eric Young, right behind. But look at that disorganization. Because it is downhill, Frankie, all bets are off. Anyone can feel like they could be on the front if they just go a little bit faster.
One Pro Cycling now coming to the front, perhaps for a sprinter, Dion Smith, the very fast rider from New Zealand right now. And that's what the danger part is, being swarmed and just having everybody come over the top of you. And this is where the lead out is so important, is having those teammates to keep that speed high, because the moment it slows down, everybody will lose position. So most of the GC riders are all in this group. The sprinters are in this group. Everybody vying right now to see who can come out in front for stage 1. The French team was on in the front there. Fortunato Vital Concepts organizing themselves. They're the ones in the green jerseys, or excuse me, the green helmets, looking about like 5th position and 6th position. They're trying to set things up, and that right now is a perfect position for them to be in.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough for the Trek Segafredo riders to handle this entire uphill like this. This is single file, falls flat uphill. You've got just 2 riders in front of Kiel If he's without teammates, if those are his final 2 teammates, then he's going to have a really hard time staying on the front. So he may be sitting pretty right now, but look at this swarm coming from his left and his right now. BMC once again to the front, taking over the front of this field. You got Greg Daniel, U.S. National Champion, on the left-hand side. We're going to be looking for an attack up here. We're going to be looking for somebody to make an aggressive uphill move to try and get away and avoid the sprint, but it is so far to the finish line.
So far to the finish line, and Fortunato Vital Concepts sitting in 2nd. They do have on that team, they have the under 23 current world road race champion, Kevin Ledenois. So he's going to be one that's thinking, and that could be him right now. Hard at 91, I believe that's Ledenois taking off right now as they are off and running, trying to get to the finish. And a French rider, Italian rider marking on each other.
Yeah, you got Nippon Vini Fantini right there just behind him. You got Kiel himself going. He has decided that this is a move he can't avoid. He has to go with him. Kiel taking off from the front of the peloton to make it 3 on the front. Greg Daniel on the back with Action Higgins Berman trying to close this gap, but you got the Vini Fantini rider just hammering over the top. You were talking about Ledenois, the current under 23 world champion. I don't believe that's him. It looks like that's number 47. It looks like Gisbert. But Kiel deciding this is enough of a move to really watch out for. But here comes that field again.
Look how fast they shut down that gap. Looks like Holoweska Citadel with the green jerseys. It's going to be Travis McCabe they're trying to set up.
McCabe's like
sitting up almost because he thinks that he doesn't want to be that far into the front. And so right now, the other rider, it looks like might be Hornbeck on the front.
Looks like Robin Carpenter in front of that move. He was the one leading out McCabe, but McCabe decided, you know what, I'm going to let that gap go, give him a shot at taking off, which makes all these other riders his potential leadouts. I mean, he's going to slot in right there in 4th position in black with the green helmet right behind Kiel. So you got 2 IM cycling riders chasing Robin Carpenter here on the front.
Robin Carpenter just coming off a big win, winning the overall of Cascade right now trying to take stage 1 from Holoweska Citadel. Look at the chase, 1 kilometer to go. Trek Segafredo on the front right now. Carpenter trying to hold everybody off as they take the left-hand turn, and the sprint is getting ready. McCabe in a very good position. Kiel is going to be in there, and the rest of the sprinters right now. And from an overhead view, who knows which sprinter is going to get to that line first. Look at the speed Carpenter is holding them off. It's an unbelievable job right now as One Pro Cycling on the left-hand side trying to move up.
Watch that swarm from the back. Looks like Kiel in 3rd place is going to get blocked in now. It is up to the riders on the outsides to try and get the sprint going. Robin Carpenter holding this small gap. He might have a shot at bringing this home. IM Cycling in 2nd position. You've got One Pro, Jelly Belly, trying to make it up. It looks like we've got Silver now in the front. On the left-hand side, we have IM Cycling on the right-hand side with number 25. Looks like David Tanner holding, but no, it is number 152 from Silver with the win. Christopher Dahl, stage 1, the biggest win for that team here at the Tour of Utah. What a day, a rider in the breakaway for the entire day, and now wow, Christopher Dahl, what an amazing finish.
David Tanner coming in 2nd place. Christopher Dahl, what a finish. That is going to be a big win from Team Silver. They put a rider in the break, they kept him away, and they were able to get there. Christopher Dahl, I think, was the rider that clipped his pedal at Redlands and they had a bad crash. He's a sprinter that takes a lot of risk, flies around corners, but you know what? It paid off perfectly as he is our stage winner of the 2016 Tour of Utah. And more importantly, that is going to put Team Silver and Christopher Dahl in the yellow jersey as the leader of this UCI race.
Such a huge win for that squad from Canada. Those guys are now looking at today as probably the best Monday morning work that they've had in a long time. Starting off out of Zion National Park now, but look at that sprint. He was just holding him off. Everyone is going almost exactly the same speed. Robin Carpenter held on for about 5th position. I mean, that kind of a finish, you can barely make up any ground on the riders next to you or in front of you. There's not much benefit to being in the draft. Robin Carpenter almost holding on to that victory, instead being overhauled by the very fast finish by Christopher Dahl. wow, I mean, he used his body to its best benefit. I mean, he's a big guy going down that downhill finish. He definitely took advantage of it.
It'll be interesting to see. I wonder with Silber if Christopher Dahl might have had a bigger chain ring, because Dave Tanner I thought was going to be able to make it from One Pro Cycling. He's coming up so quick as Tanner's from IM Cycling, and like all of a sudden he runs out of gear. Wasn't sure, is it coming up the middle, the rider from Jelly Belly, and then trapped on the right side from Action Hagens Berman was a fantastic ride from 94, and that was, maybe it was Colin Joyce. So some of the riders with a little bit more speed not getting the open space that they wanted to be able to get there, having the open space and making it count. Christopher Dahl looking across, screaming in excitement as this is the biggest win of his career as he wins stage 1 of the 2016 Larry